Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle, and this video is to introduce the syllabus for Philosophy 100. Let me share my screen. So here's the syllabus. This quarter, this class is taught at City College, fall semester 2021. The dates of the course, we're starting August 23rd and ending December 11th. That's my birthday. The time for the class, well, the class is completely online, but there will be some meetings that we do sort of every 3 to 4 weeks to sort of check in. And so there will be some Zoom meetings that will most likely take place on probably Fridays. But you won't be required to show up. They'll just be, participation credit or extra points that you can get by showing up. You can take the class from anywhere because it's online, and there is no textbook. All of the readings and relevant materials are going to be posted on Canvas. I'm your instructor. My name is Kyle Dickey. A little bit about me. I am a graduate student still at the UC Santa Barbara, trying to get my PhD. I have 2 master's degrees in philosophy, so hopefully that's enough. My email here is kdickey@pipeline. And I haven't figured out my office hours just yet, but they'll be posted on the Canvas page once they are. There's a couple of quotes on here by one of my favorite philosophers, Bertrand Russell. Just to sort of get us up and rolling right away. Russell thought that philosophy, though unable to tell us with certainty what is always the true answer to the doubts which philosophy raises, is able often to suggest many possibilities which enlarge our thoughts and free them from the tyranny of custom. Like that sentiment. Bertrand Russell is a great philosopher. About this course in general. So this is an introductory course to philosophy. So we're going to be discussing and surveying a number of philosophical topics and questions, as well as arguments from each of the major philosophical disciplines. I know many of you probably have never taken a philosophy class before, so this is the introduction to it. The major philosophical disciplines that we're going to be discussing mostly are ethics, epistemology, and metaphysics. We'll also talk at the end, I think, a little bit about the philosophy of mind. And this course is going to be focused on thinking through philosophical answers to some of the deepest questions that human beings have ever dared to ask. Things like, what's right and wrong? How do we know anything at all? What is real? Is there a God? What am I? Philosophy is not ultimately about memorizing facts. And so we're not really going to be focusing on that. Instead, we're going to be focusing on thinking and learning how to think through particular complex philosophical theories and issues by basically looking at how different people approach thinking about these things. In the end, there's very few philosophical questions that you might ask that have anything like an obvious answer. And there aren't really any simple ways to find the answers to most of these deep philosophical questions. So the best approach here is going to be looking at each of these questions from a number of different philosophical perspectives to try and shed light on the different approaches to answering these questions. This course is going to be divided into sort of 4 sections, each of which gets increasingly abstract. Really, there's 3 main sections. We begin, though, starting in week 2 with a discussion of ethics, where we'll be discussing things that matter and the nature of morality. Then the sort of after, I think, week 5, we're going to move on to epistemology to try and determine what, if anything, we can know or what we can justifiably believe. Epistemology is the study of knowledge. Finally, metaphysics, or third kind of is metaphysics, where we'll be discussing what things really are, what exists, and how things are fundamentally related to one another. And then at the end, we'll discuss the philosophy of mind, and focus on issues that arise from the relationships between our concepts and things in the world and how those things match. I hope you will enjoy this class, and I hope that it expands your mind. I always love teaching this kind of class because oftentimes students get their minds sort of blown a few times. Here's another quote from Russell. which I think is always good to know the point of philosophy. And this is, whether or not it's really the point of philosophy, but the point of philosophy is to start with something so simple as to not seem worth stating, and to end with something so paradoxical that no one will believe it. Bertrand Russell did that a lot. All right, the logistics of the course. So the course is going to be totally online. So everything is going to be posted to the relevant section and week module on Canvas. So Canvas is divided into modules, and so you'll be able to know on the basis of which weeks we've passed and which weeks are current. There will be videos, readings, lectures, quizzes, and assignments for each of the sections of the course. And each section is going to last approximately 4 weeks. So after introductory week 1, we've got 4 weeks of ethics, then four weeks of epistemology, and 4 weeks of metaphysics. There are going to be 11 quizzes to determine your progress, keeping up with the material, and 3 short writing assignments, 1 for each of the sections of the course. There's also a 4th optional extra credit writing assignment that's offered at the end of the course in case you need to improve your grade. So your grade is going to be calculated on how well you do on the quizzes, the writing assignments, and your participation in the class. Each of these assignments that I'm giving out is meant to sort of track your understanding of the course material. So make sure to keep up with the materials and watch the lecture videos before you take any quizzes. So the quizzes are going to be worth 40% of your grade, and they're basically just meant to make sure that you've actually done the reading and watched the videos. There's 11 of them. The lowest score will be dropped. And each of the quizzes will be posted sort of the week of the material and will be due by the end of Friday that week's material is for. You can take quizzes late. In fact, there's just across the board late penalty in this class because it's an online class. I know people get behind, people forget about stuff. There's just a 10% late penalty on everything that's late. So if you take the quiz late after Friday, don't fret. It's only 10% off. Quiz questions are going to be covering all the material, and they'll vary in difficulty, but each of the answers can be found somewhere in that week's material. And the quizzes will all be multiple choice, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be necessarily easy. There will be 3 writing assignments, and you must turn in each of them in order to receive a passing grade in the class. That is, if you decide to just skip one of the papers, you will not pass the class. Each assignment will follow basically a guided essay prompt. There will be very specific instructions on the essay prompt that you need to follow in order to turn in this essay. If you don't follow the essay prompt, your essay will be returned to you, and I will just basically give the comment that you need to follow the prompt instructions and rewrite the essay and return it to me. The topics will be chosen from the material covered in the relevant section of the course, and each writing assignment will be basically due about a week after it's been assigned. Finally, participation. So participation in this class will depend on 2 things. The first, sort of the required one, because this is an online class and I'm not requiring you to sort of be anywhere at any given time. There's a discussion page. There's going to be discussion pages for each section of the class, and you'll need to interact with people on those discussion pages. There will also be some live Zoom discussions, depending on the week, where we talk about each of the sort of major philosophical topics. And the discussion page posts will be relevant to those in-person Zoom discussion meetings. I will not require that you attend the in-person Zoom discussion meetings, but I will highly suggest it. In fact, you will get extra participation points by showing up and participating. Yeah, so that's how you get easy 20% of your grade. Again, here's the late policy. Because this class is all online, and I know people get behind and forget things, there's simply a 10% reduction of any grade that for anything that is turned in late. So try to get everything in on time, but if you can't, you can make up pretty much everything by the end of the class. I highly recommend you do not wait until the very end of the class to try and make everything up. Students have tried to do that in the past and almost always fail or end up with an unfortunate grade. One thing, yeah, so I also suggest when you're writing your papers, I'd suggest that you not write them in a rush right at the very end, right before the paper's due, just to get them in on time. Because turning in a poor C paper is worse than turning in like an A paper that you spent a bunch of time on that then only gets a 10% reduction. So, an A paper that turns into a B paper is better than turning in a really bad C paper because it was super fast, turned in super fast. Some learning outcomes and some learning objectives. I'll let you read over those if you are interested. Academic honesty statement. You better not be plagiarizing. If you plagiarize, you will be caught, and it's odd to do things like plagiarize in a class in philosophy where we study ethics. If you have any kind of disability, I highly recommend you look into the student disability program. And here is a list of links for you as well that will be helpful for anything related to the class. One thing that I just want to point out here is the Writing Center. When you're writing your papers, I highly recommend you use the Writing Center. It's a fantastic resource. Everybody in college should want to get a little bit better at writing, especially if you're just starting out. And the Writing Center is an extremely helpful resource. The only way to really get better at writing is if somebody, you give someone your writing and then they show you oh, this is funny, you should change this. And the Writing Center is perfect for doing that in a very, non-confrontational, helpful spirit. I can help you with your writing as well. That's it for the syllabus. And I hope to see you all in class soon.